So the Diddy trial has basically almost started, you know what I'm saying? But right now they're just going through the jury selection, and these last few days, they just circulating through juries after jury after jury, and it seemed like with this TMZ article, it seemed like one of the victims don't even want to testify in the trial. Like that's crazy. So, but let's read this TMZ article, man, and go from there. So the TMZ article says victim 3 never cooperated with feds, never wanted to testify. So I'm wondering who's victim 3, because I already know Cassie, she's going to testify. So it says federal prosecutors are taking a big gamble with one of their star witnesses in Diddy's sex trafficking trial, because the woman they call victim 3 has always made it clear she does not want to testify. I'm wondering like why she don't want to testify. I mean, I have an idea. She could be scared. It is a big, powerful guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he might harm her, but then again, it's like, well, we don't know because we hear these stories. During the jury selection this week, lead prosecutor Maureen Comey admitted to feds do not know whether the alleged victim, one of the Diddy's ex-girlfriends, intends to appear in court to testify. So it's one of his ex-girlfriends. Okay. So it's Cassie, the ex-girlfriend. Comey said the woman does not live locally. There is an issue getting in touch with her attorney, and she may not even show up to court despite a subpoena. Wow. Our sources with direct knowledge say the woman has never cooperated with prosecutors and never gave them indication she would be willing to take the stand during the trial. It begs the question, why did prosecutors add her to the Diddy indictment, and will they address her absence next week during opening statements? Wow, man, that's crazy. But let's listen to what these guys say.
You're going to start with Diddy, because there is something about this, honestly, it doesn't make sense. Not this part. Cassie, who is the star witness in this case.
She is referred to in the indictment as victim 1.
And everybody knows it's her because they say they reference her with respect to the beating video. So we know Cassie is victim 1. She is going to display herself as Cassie. She's not going to be anonymous.
Right.
There was talk about that.
So right there, that's the famous video that we seen on CNN, man, that Diddy and Cassie was in a hotel room and he like kicked her and hit her, man. Like it's sad, man.
But there are 3 other alleged victims, and somehow the feds are saying we will keep them anonymous, and that doesn't make sense to me.
What they are saying, what the feds have said, is that victims 2, 3, and 4 will testify but use pseudonyms, not even like initials. They're just going to have some pseudonym that they use when referring to victims 2, 3, and 4 who are expected to testify.
So the guy to my left could go as Jeffrey Goldstein, but we know it's not Jeffrey Goldstein because I'm looking at him right now.
Are you saying I could not be named Jeffrey Goldstein? What are you trying to say?
For all sorts of reasons.
What are you trying to say, Harvey?
For all sorts of reasons. You're not Jeffrey Goldstein.
You don't know who my daddy is. But it is going to be interesting once the trial starts. So you'll have Cassie testifying, a pregnant Cassie, by the way, testifying openly in court. But what they do with the other 3, I mean, there are a number of ways they could do it.
I spoke to somebody connected to the defense, and all I got back is that's impossible.
Well, there are certainly people who are going to know who it is. I would imagine they have to let the jury see the face.
They're going to take the stand. And yes, because look, one of the things about testifying in a case is the jury isn't just listening, they are looking. They are looking at facial expressions, body language,
reactions,
hesitation, reactions, all of that. And, you know, if they, you know, put them in a different room and blur their face, that opens the door, if Diddy gets convicted, to an appeal.
So the other option would be to clear the court, but the media is still going to, you can't not have the media in there.
Well, I mean, they could seal it because, you know, but that doesn't make sense. I can't imagine they're going to seal this case. They seal, you know, certain child custody cases, guardianship cases. You know, Britney Spears, for example, that was all sealed. You couldn't go in. This is different.
Could they seal it because you're dealing with alleged sexual assault victims?
No, I mean, if you look at the history, at least look, I don't know what the feds are thinking, but that's not what happens in court. And again, I just had a very cursory talk with somebody who said, connected to the defense team, that's just impossible. It's not going to happen. I don't see how it happens.
I think it's really difficult to do, but the feds have some competing interests here. This is a case that involves sex trafficking. You've had child sex trafficking cases where you can blur witnesses' faces. You're absolutely right, though, that the jury will want to see the credibility and make those determinations based on body language and facial expressions. But
Yeah, so basically, they want the accuser in court. You know what I mean? Because anybody can say anything. You know what I'm saying? They want to see body language, facial expressions. It is witness credible. You know what I'm saying? Is she really telling the truth, or did the prosecutors just end up finding somebody up the street just to say anything about Diddy? You know what I mean? Which is crazy. Because this is a serious case. You know what I'm saying? This guy can spend 50 or life in prison. You know what I'm saying? Because if like I made the last video, he didn't take the plea deal that was offered to him last week. So he's really fighting for his life. You know what I mean? But let's play the news report about the jury selection.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. Our next story takes us out to the Big Apple as Sean Diddy Combs will be back in court today for day 2 of his sex trafficking and racketeering trial. Jury selection is set to resume with 19 jurors from the first day's pool moving on to the next stage. Fox 5 New York's Briella Tomasetti joins us live this morning outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan with the very latest details. A lot of eyes on this case, Briella. Good morning.
Gina, good morning to you. And I can tell you this, it's expected to be another busy day at court. As a reminder, yesterday, potential jurors were given a brief explanation of the charges. The judge also told them that the defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty. That defendant, of course, Sean Diddy Combs, walked into.
Boy, Diddy got a lot of gray hair. Seeing like, boy, he really stretching in jail. For real.
To the courtroom yesterday wearing a sweater over a white collared shirt and gray slacks. He hugged his attorneys when he got in. As proceedings got underway, Judge Arun Subramanian jokingly compared the long list of the prospective jurors to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Several of them said they already saw a key piece of evidence in this case, video of Combs beating R&B singer and ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura inside a Los Angeles hotel. One woman was dismissed after describing a still image she saw from that video as, quote, damning evidence. Ventura, one of the 4 accusers, is expected to testify. By day's end, some were disqualified for personal reasons or because their opinions or past experiences would impact their objectivity. One prospective juror said she liked a video on social media posted by a comedian who joked about large amounts of baby oil found by law enforcement in the superstar's homes. She was not dismissed. At one point, Combs asked for a bathroom break, telling the judge he was a little nervous. The court ultimately hopes to seat all 12 jurors plus 6 alternates by the end of this week before opening statements begin on Monday. All of them, by the way, will remain anonymous. Prosecutors have argued that Combs used his power to force women to participate in sex performances called freak-offs. His defense team insists everything was consensual. The hip-hop mogul denies the allegations and has pleaded not guilty to federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Now, as you mentioned, Gina, 19 people from that first group of potential jurors are still in the running, and 36 more are expected to be questioned today. For now, we're live here, though, in Lower Manhattan. We'll send it back inside to you.
All right, Fox 5 New York's Briella Tomasetti. Briella, thank you so much for the detailed breakdown. We'll see how day 2 goes and check in with you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you. And I want to share with you this latest tweet coming down on X this morning from the New York Post. It says, quote, Diddy makes sobering admission about his emotions as jury selection in bombshell NYC sex trafficking trial kicks off. So we are keeping a close eye on this case right here on Live Now from Fox. Of course, cameras not allowed inside.
Wow, man, this is pretty big. This is a big case, you know. The other case, this is pretty huge. We already know Diddy, man. He's a big entrepreneur, you know, fashion icon or whatever, and also big in the music industry. On the record label, Bad Boys. This is pretty big, man. That video that he beat up Cassie, that video is very damaging. You know what saying? But I know they like, I don't think he's being charged for that. I think it's just sex trafficking and stuff like that. So why they allowed that video in the trial is kind of crazy to me. But then again, it's like, I guess anything goes, and in this federal case, man, like it's not going to be viewed on camera, no video camera, stuff like that. And I'm kind of sad about that, man. 'Cause I really wanted to see everything that goes on in the court, but it's a bad case. Cameras in it. It's crazy. I really want to see that. Like I said, man, this whole situation is crazy. I don't know, man. I think, to be honest with you, I think he should have took it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that he's going to become guilty in this, man, but I think he probably should have took a plea deal. I don't know how much time he would have got. Maybe 10 or 15 years, probably. But I'm not in his position. You know what I'm saying? This is life. So he's a billionaire, so he got a lot to lose. You know what I mean? So I guess I kind of understand why he want to take it to trial, because a lot of this stuff out the few days, in the last few months, a lot of stuff that was against him kind of was debunked. You know what I mean? Like the Little Rod case. Little Rod was the guy that he was a record producer. He didn't get paid, so he kind of came out with allegations and stuff, saying all type of stuff like Diddy. That's not going to be in the court. So I don't know. Maybe he might got a chance. Maybe he might don't. But y'all tell me, y'all. I think Diddy really got a chance to really beat this. I think nah. He's going to be guilty. Y'all tell me, y'all think.